In our series, we are discussing the subject of urgency and how we can get more and be more effective in our purpose pursuits when we have an injection of urgency in our lives. And we've been looking at some areas in which we need urgency in there, and generally we've been saying that there are two ways you can get urgency. One, sit back and wait for life to send you a crisis, and then that's when you start prioritizing things. And two, getting daily intentional about the urgency. Later on, maybe we're going to look at exactly how you can start injecting urgency into your life. But of now, we're looking at some of the areas that you need urgency in, and we've talked about two. Let's look at one more area in our lives today. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Life Signatures podcast with Lawrence Namale. Lawrence is a life coach, author, and keynote speaker who loves to tackle different topics on purpose, productivity, and resilience. His mission in life is to awaken all your boundless possibilities available in you. Life Signatures podcast is dedicated to bring to reality every single person who knows that deep down in their gut, there's got to be more to life than this. And now, here is your host, Lawrence Namale.
I think we are all aware on what you can do to be urgent, or maybe we are all aware of what urgency looks like. When I point a gun at your face, you come face to face with urgency. When you get a phone call and you're told that a loved one has been imprisoned or has been arrested, urgency. When you get a phone call and you're told that a loved one has been hospitalized or has been involved in an accident, urgency gets there. Trouble has a way of inducing urgency in our lives. So I'm saying this just to communicate the fact that we all are aware of what urgency looks like. In fact, we know what urgency feels like. There is a feeling about it. There is a feeling on urgency. It is a force, so to speak. It's an internal force. It's a driver. Urgency supersedes every form of comfort. There is no comfort in urgency. It supersedes every form of comfort, and it induces things that matter the most. We focus on things that matter the most. If I wanted to find out what matters to you, I'll create a form of urgency in your life, and I will see you dropping very many things that you held dear. Then that's when you come to the stark realization that, oh, this doesn't really matter. And life has a way of doing that, although sometimes we get to have this urgency injected in our lives very late on our deathbeds. That's when we realize that the things that we were pursuing and holding on to them so dearly, thinking that they matter the most, they didn't. We realize that we should have been urgent on more important things in life. That's the trick part. So we were looking at some things or some areas in our lives where we needed urgency, where we do need urgency on a daily basis. The first area that we talked about was the area of health, as in this one is number one, honestly, because when your health is not intact or is not in place, guess what? You cannot function. You cannot be effective. You don't have a body to pursue your purpose. You don't have the comfort to pursue your purpose. Even though we know that there's some people in extreme cases who have had situations about their health, but they have just kept trudging along because they were, trudging along because they were hell-bent on making sure that their lives matter for their existence. It matters. But generally speaking, if your health is not up to scratch, you will not pursue your purpose. So you need urgency in your health. Secondly, we talked about relationships, and we said yesterday that if there is no relationship in the human race, that's the end of it. We are so related, so much so that the trillion-dollar companies, actually, the top trillion-dollar companies, are to do with relationships and communication. Well, transport probably is there, and even transport is just connecting us from one place to another. Anything that connects human beings, come to think about it, anything that connects human beings, any organization that connects human beings is a trillion-dollar company. Okay, let me rephrase that because I'm being fact-checked. The top 10 most wealthiest organizations in the universe, if you checked them, what matters to them fundamentally is connection. Connecting human beings, either physically, either virtually, either on the phones, either on the internet, either through transport, whatever it is about connections. Think about that. So it's important for us to have urgency as far as our connections as human beings are concerned. But today I want us to look at one interesting aspect of our lives when it comes to urgency, where we need to be urgent. We need to be urgent in terms of our spirit. Spirit talks about our being. Our being. We are human beings. We are human beings, not human doings. And I know sometimes we run around doing things more than we be, more than becoming, more than being. Matters related to the spirit. So we're supposed to be urgent as far as the spirit is concerned. We're supposed to be urgent in terms of clarifying what matters, in terms of clarifying what is important to us, in terms of clarifying our mental acuity and our mental strength and our mental toughness. We're supposed to be urgent in terms of clarifying the direction that we are taking in this life. We're supposed to be urgent in terms of clarifying what matters the most right now. You know why? Because we have no problem acting. In other words, we have no problem taking action as human beings. The moment our eyes are opened in the morning and the moment our feet hit the floor, we are already filled with a lot of activities, permutations of activities that, if we are not clear about it, we end up doing so much. In fact, I've been thinking of late, ladies and gentlemen, where is the productivity and the impact in all the things that I do? Are they worth doing in the first place? And for as long as I lack urgency in this clarity, the spiritual clarity of who I am, where I come from, what I'm supposed to do, what I can do, where I am going, the more I lack urgency in the manner of in the area of my spirit, the more I find myself doing so much or doing so little that doesn't matter at the end of the day. And that's where lack of fulfillment comes in. It comes from there. It comes from the idea that I am acting and acting and acting, and I have not found myself. Finding ourselves, it's something that is important, and we should inject urgency in there, because at some point in time we will face this life coming to an end. We have an expiry date, and when this expiry date comes, it's a little bit too late to clarify or to have urgency in clarifying our spiritual being, or clarifying the direction that our life is supposed to take. So this area of clarity that we need, I do believe that this is the first thing we need to do when we become aware of who we are, when we become adults. At the very early ages, I think parents are charged with giving urgency to their kids in terms of clarifying this aura, this direction, this spiritual angle of life. And when they reach 13 and so on, and they start figuring out, in fact, by the time kids start choosing their subjects, that this is my subject combination, it is time to have the urgency of finding out the direction that your life is going to take. And this is not something that you do once and you forget about it. Of course, I've said earlier on in my episodes that when you discover your purpose, you will do it once and for all. But what I failed to say is that it's a continuous process of refinery. You keep refining, but at least you have a general direction of where you're going, what tangent you're going to take. That is where urgency needs to be found. Today you find adults, some of them even leading corporations, they have no clue about this kind of urgency in their lives. They have no clue where their direction is going to take. They don't know who they are. They can't identify themselves with any cause, or what matters to them has not been clarified in their lives, and therefore they're just existing. In fact, they're putting on airs in terms of titles, in terms of whatever it is, to cover that. But you see, human beings are beings, not doings. So let us have urgency of finding out, who am I? Where do I come from? What am I here to do? What can I be able to do? Where am I going? Let's have that urgency injected in our lives, not just once, but on a daily basis, so that everything that we do, I do believe, we become more effective in life if this type of urgency is clarified on an ever-increasing basis. Well, tomorrow we're going to look at another set of urgency that you and I need to have in our lives injected. And if you enjoy these episodes, if you like what I'm talking about, this subject, this is a virtual incubation for purpose, productivity, and resilience. And if you like this, please subscribe to the channel and share with all your friends as much as possible, because the more you share, the more we reach to people. The more we reach to people, the more we light up their lives with a message of purpose, productivity, and resilience. Until tomorrow, when we're doing the same, bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Life Signatures Radio. If you enjoyed today's show, subscribe to Life Signatures Radio on iTunes, Stitcher, or visit our website at lifesignatures.libsyn.com. Life Signatures Radio, fresh, clean, and inspiring.